And here we are.
Excellent.
That was
Okay.
Absolutely professional. We love that window sound. You know, that's
Mhm.
it's got to be a part of the
Mhm.
podcast.
It's the best. That's how
Oh
you know
yeah,
it's a professional production.
that's my wonderful work laptop. I opened it literally like 5 millimeters, and it went. Love that.
Vic, do you even know
Okay.
this?
Well,
Do you know what this piece does?
Is that to? Nope.
Well, this is gonna go
so
great.
Oh man, it's been a minute.
so for all people listening, while we record our podcast, Zach is with his wonderful brother Jake, playing what is it called? War of the Ring,
War
for
of the Ring.
Yep.
War of the Ring in the background. A nice board game.
Yes, so you'll be hearing some nice little sounds like a little bit, and then a.
Dang,
That actually is pretty good ASMR.
pretty satisfying.
I'm sure that's it.
So the only issue is this board game is very, very complex, and
I imagine.
it's been like it's been over a year,
A little year.
probably 2 years since we last played it, and the reason it's been so long is because the last time we played it, it took 9 hours to play because
Oh,
Jake just sat there going, but should I?
Listen,
Oh,
I've gotten.
no.
Listen, okay. It's a very big game. I can't find the token.
Jake, don't
It's
feel
okay,
bad about
Jake.
that.
It
I
was a
forgive
very
you. I would
big
have taken
game.
Hold on,
18
I've
hours.
seen them on the cards though, because it's right there.
Oh, it might be to show that they're in this army thing. I don't know. I think we had this issue the last time.
But anyway, while we do that, I think we do our first roll, right?
To see who goes first.
Oh yeah, we gotta see who goes first.
I think is that how it goes, or is that?
Or is it always three people's first? Oh, and I have 4 victory points to start with.
But you win when you get to.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh, when I win when I get to 4.
Victory
That's
points.
what it is.
Shall I go ahead and launch into my several
welcome
weeks?
everybody to Talk the Plank, where we take too long and get off topic really fast.
Always. That it wouldn't be a Talk the Plank
Guaranteed.
podcast without talking about Sonic or Chris Chan or whatever the heck we talk about. I don't even remember.
Oh, good lord.
It's been a hot minute. So Aaron, how has been your many
Yes,
weeks?
me. They've been pretty darn good. I've been up to quite a bit, as it turns out. I've consumed quite a bit of media as well. So I guess I'll just go ahead and launch into all of that now. So to start, Oppenheimer. Um, yeah, that movie's great. I will be utterly shocked, floored, etc. if that does not win Best Picture at the Oscars. Um, honestly, probably Nolan's best film. It is Oppenheimer's life. I mean, okay, let's keep it a stack. He did literally begin mutually assured destruction, but um, at the same time, he was very, very against the proliferation of nuclear weapons, and the U.S. government basically crucified him for it. And it sucks to watch because it's like, damn, really, this is the guy you're gonna rake over the coals. It's like, dang. It's a pretty sad story, if I'm being honest. But the movie is absolutely stellar. I loved every single second of it. Probably the best movie I've seen this year thus far. If you haven't seen it, it is an absolute must watch. Next movie, Barbie.
Yeah.
We get the Barbenheimer special.
Oh, did you do the double feature? Did you do the?
I didn't do the double feature.
Ah.
No.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm ashamed of myself. I wasn't willing to sit through 5 hours worth of movie.
That's understandable.
Technically 5.5 if you include previews. But no, I saw Barbie with all my buddies, and then I saw Oppenheimer with my family. Um, so Barbie is freaking awesome. That's like a good runner-up for Picture of the Year, Best Picture.
I've heard
If
that
I'm
like
being
people went into it thinking it would be, happy summer movie, and then they actually came out with, oh, this has some really
existential
heavy
dread.
themes.
Very much so. Yes, it's literally you go in and you're like, haha, I'm ready for the silly, funny Barbie movie, and then you come out and you're like, my life has changed fundamentally. I am a different person than when I walked into this movie theater. There are some genuinely beautiful moments. They also got me to care about a Billie Eilish song, which is surprising because I don't think I've ever actually listened to Billie Eilish, but now that song's in my playlist and I bump it all the time. Uh, Stellar movie, absolutely stellar movie. Margot Robbie is killer. Um, the emotional impacts are bang impactful. Um, and yeah, everybody did a great job. I love anything that Ryan Gosling's in. It's pretty much guaranteed that I'm gonna like it. I love Ryan Gosling. I love that guy.
Great actor. I will
I don't think
say.
I don't think. What
Oh,
are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I love the you could tell that everybody on set of that movie was having the time of their lives. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
absolutely. Everybody on that freaking. Oh my god, everybody was having a great time. Everybody was literally performing their heart out. Ryan Gosling must have been so freaking happy. He plays such an absurd character, and I love it. I love him. Um, he is Kenough. He is Kenough. Yeah, Barbie, excellent movie. It's amazing. We got literally two bangers releasing on the same weekend, and both are killing it at the box office. Like finally, finally, when was the last time we had like a genuinely good like blockbuster season? Um,
I am
like with
very thankful to the weird meme of Barbenheimer because I feel like otherwise Oppenheimer wouldn't have done well at all.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, he's Christopher Nolan, and I do think his name appeal would have brought people to theaters, but not nearly to the extent that it ended up doing
No,
because of Barbenheimer.
especially because
Not even close.
a lot of Nolan's recent films have been kind of misses in a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
Dunkirk, I like Dunkirk, but it's not definitely not one of my favorites. And from what I've heard about Tenet, it's incomprehensible.
Tenet, I wouldn't say it's incomprehensible, but Tenet I would just say is aggressively mid. Man, Nolan needs to get a
Oof.
new sound designer. You literally, it's like next to impossible to hear what his freaking characters are saying because he puts the voice channels on like the freaking lowest of the low, so you can barely hear what anybody's saying.
You gotta hear the
Um,
Blom. You gotta hear the Hans Zimmer Blom.
Oh my god, yes. You literally there are so many scenes in Oppenheimer where they'll just like snap cut to a like an explosion noise or like a scream or something like that, and it's the loudest thing you've ever heard in your entire life. And then it switches back to the freaking dialogue scenes, and it's like, and you're like, what are you? I just got my eardrums blown out. Why can I not hear you?
As I got your eardrums blown out.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I literally just lost my hearing, and that's why I couldn't hear people talking. But I'm so freaking glad Killian Murphy got a lead role from Nolan. God, because
Yeah.
he deserves it. He genuinely he deserves it. He is an amazing actor, and he killed the role of Oppenheimer. Absolutely killed it. God, I just love him. I love him in anything he's in. It's like Ryan Gosling for me. Pretty much anything he's in is guaranteed to be a banger. So I believe that's all the movies I watched. TV shows. I started watching My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey.
Louis Lane's design is chef's kiss. I think everybody is sort of simping over Louis in My Adventures with Superman, and I am no different. Um, it's a fantastic show though. It is. It's funny. It's witty. It's super well animated. Like, oh my god, they really had a decent animation budget for this. Superman goes Super Saiyan a couple times, which I think was like a cool new ability. Um, uh, and yeah, everything they set up, like they just blaze through like his introduction or his origin story, because everybody's like, well, I already know Superman's origin story.
It
We
was
don't need to know.
Superman.
Yeah, he's Superman. That's literally all we need to know. Thank God. And yeah, it's silly, it's kooky. I love like this sort of awkward relationship that Lois and Superman have. It's great. I've loved all the villains so far. They're so charismatic and funny. And God, what a great show! I'm so glad. This is like a breath of fresh air for like animated shows, especially like adult animated shows. It is ostensibly an adult animated show, but there is nothing adult in it. So I am curious as to why it's on Adult Swim. But
It's
who
gonna
knows?
go
Maybe
invincible
somebody
on
will.
the last episode.
As I was gonna say, maybe somebody's gonna get disemboweled in one episode or something. Um, uh, but yeah, that show's awesome. It's on Max. I would highly recommend checking it out. I adore it. I adore it. I really do. Next, I've been watching Succession. I am on the final season now, and the most insane, mind-boggling crap just happened like 2 episodes ago. Uh, Literally, I just was watching, and then suddenly they just literally drop a freaking tactical nuke on you in like episode 4 of the final season, and I'm like, what? You can't do that. That's not allowed. Literally broke my freaking mind that episode. Um, Literally, I won't say much, but I will say, and HBO really likes their wedding episodes. I tell you what, they really, really like to drop bombshells on their wedding episodes.
I will say before you go into any further talk about weddings and HBO shows, Jake is reading the books currently for Song of Ice and Fire.
I'm not going to say anything. Don't worry, I'm not going to say anything.
200 pages.
I got you. No. I was not going to elaborate on that front, except to say that HBO really likes their wedding episodes. But Succession is freaking awesome. I think that honestly, the last season it may be the best of out of all of them thus far. Um, every time I think, man, it can't get any worse for Kendall and the gang. It gets worse. So I'm impressed always with how they're able to one up themselves in that way. Session, watch it. It's also on Max. Next, Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead.
Ooh.
This is a show, an anime, in which a man who is basically living who has the most demoralizing, life-crushing job, and basically can't quit because they kind of have him. They basically control him almost. The zombie apocalypse breaks out, and he no longer has to work his degrading, soul-crushing job, and basically becomes incredibly pumped up and excited, and makes a bucket list for things he wants to do before he becomes a zombie. It got insanely high ratings right out the gate. And I was like, this concept sounds really interesting. I want to check it out. And let me tell you what, it's very interesting, and I am glad I checked it out. Genuinely, the best anime I've watched in a very long time. It's just I love the charisma of the main character. The supporting cast is all great. Um, every episode is more creative than the last. Genuinely, I would recommend going and watching this as soon as you can. New episode airs tonight, and I'm so excited for it. Actually, it may have already aired because it'd be on Japan time. But amazing, so much fun, that show. Um, Next, moving a quick aside, I actually went and saw a play with my girlfriend.
Ooh.
We hit up the Pocket Sandwich Theater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have a new location in Addison where she lives, or near where she lives anyway. So she bought some tickets for us to go see Captain Blood, which is kind of their big play. They do it all the time. I've seen it. I think this is my second time seeing it. There, they changed some details from the last time I saw it, but yeah, it's so much fun, that play. It's just goofy, silly. You get some popcorn to throw at the actors while they do things. Um, uh, it's so much fun. Yeah. Sadly, we were planning on eating there, me and my girlfriend, but apparently the kitchen closes uh, 30 minutes before showtime, and so we got there like 15 minutes before the start, and so we are like, okay, we'll grab a quick bite while we get inside, and then it turns out we couldn't. So they had queso and salsa remaining, so we're just like, okay, give us like 2 servings of queso and salsa, and we'll just snack on that. So, um, but that was fun. I like Captain Blood. It's a ton of fun. Um, yes, that is the play I saw. The last thing I watched was Good Omens.
Ooh.
Oh,
Neil Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett, um, uh, with starring David Tennant, and I don't remember who the other guy's name is.
it's David Tennant's and then some other guy.
Then some other guy. You know what? Let me look him up because maybe you'll recognize his name. Good Omens.
That is on my
TV
to-read
show.
list.
It is on my both to read and to watch list.
Yeah.
Michael Sheen plays
I know
the
the name.
angel. Yeah, you'd probably recognize his face. He's been in things before. But yeah, Michael Sheen plays the angel. David Tennant plays the devil. And basically, there's a little bit of evil in the angel and a little bit of good in the devil. And basically, they become good friends. And in season 1, they try to stop the apocalypse from happening. We're on season 2 now, which is a whole new story. We haven't put the pieces together of what the heck's going on with it just yet, but um, awesome. That's just freaking so good. Oh my god. Literally all the performances are absolutely killer, and it's so oddball that I just absolutely adore it. Yeah, Good Omens is really freaking good. I would highly recommend checking it out because it is non-stop fun from beginning to end. In terms of things I've played, what are you gonna say? Oh, never mind, I guess.
Right?
Okay, things I played. I guess I'll touch on my board games first. So, gentlemen, I have a sad announcement to make.
Oh no.
Something rather depressing, in fact.
Oh.
My friend Sosa has gotten me into Magic the Gathering.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
I know.
Oh no.
I know. See, it is an unfortunate situation, but
it snaps you up. I'm so sorry.
it really does.
really does.
It really, really does.
Let me guess. They got you a Decabander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they sure did.
Hook,
They
line, and sinker.
sure did. Oh my god. But pretty much my friend Tommy, who we go to play board games at his house all the time, he makes racks, and so he has a billion Magic cards. And so pretty much it's me, Sosa, and Tommy, and we every Saturday we sit down and play Commander decks. I run a zombie deck, so blue black. First time I played, I didn't understand the rules at all. I got absolutely freaking stomped into the ground. Sosa is clearly the best player among all of us. So he knew exactly how to synergize his deck and play very, very, very well.
Yep.
So I absolutely got crushed the first time. Second time, I absolutely got crushed. Third time, I won by a technicality because Sosa accidentally did a board clear card and didn't realize that in the process he wiped his own cards.
How do you
pretty much yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how he missed that. I guess he just didn't fully read the explanation. So luckily I had a card that whenever it gets killed, I can pay a certain amount of mana to basically immediately put it back on the battlefield. So I
Yep.
had a bunch of mana left over, so I just plopped that sucker down, and then both Tommy and Sosa were completely open, so I just murdered them both. Um, so yeah, I literally won on a technicality because Sosa was absolutely obliterating me and Tommy. He literally, it's so funny. It was his final turn. He could have just destroyed us by doing nothing. But he's like, you know what? No, I want to make sure
He got
this is the
cocky.
craziest
His
possible
hubris.
win I can manage. It was literally hubris. It was pure hubris.
Oh, I love them. I love it so
Couldn't
much.
just win. He had a style on it. And
Yes.
his hubris got the best of him.
The
Beautiful.
hubris did indeed get the best of him.
It's that
Um,
meme of the guy who's doing a kickflip and then he lands into the rake at the end of the rake.
Yes. But yeah, so he wasn't able to make it to our session yesterday, but so it was me versus Tommy, and I've been playing the same deck to get good with it. And yesterday, I discovered that not only do I really like Magic, but that I'm actually fairly decent at it. Because in both games, I just got insane luck against Tommy. I mean, insane. I pulled the exact cards I needed to pull, and basically kind of obliterated him on both fronts. Because game, I just got all the cards I wanted. Second game, I got a Planeswalker on like the second turn, and it literally synergized perfectly with the cards I was getting. So I unfortunately just wiped Tommy. I don't think I even took a tick of damage. But yes, I now understand exactly how Magic works and exactly how to synergize all my cards together. So yeah, I think I'm fairly decent at it now. Can I beat Sosa is the question. Probably
will.
not.
You will. You will.
Yeah. That guy's crazy good. He knows exactly what he plays so much Magic. It's insane. Tommy hasn't played as much by comparison. He has literally a billion decks, but I guess he just hasn't had anybody to play with.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. But yes. So I'm just gonna stick with that deck until I get bored of it, and then I'll move on.
Nice.
That's Magic. I also played a bit of Dominion. Dominion's a deck builder. I think I had already mentioned it earlier. Deck builder, pretty much you have an action phase and a buy phase. You buy cards to use actions to get money to buy victory points, basically. And it's fun. I love deck builders. Deck builders are so much fun. They may be my favorite genre of game. Yeah, Dominion's fun. I'd highly recommend checking it out if you're really into board games. It can be played, I think, with like 2 people minimum. So definitely worth checking out. Next, Blood on the Clock Tower. Mentioned it before. I play it every Friday at Tommy's. So much fun. I ran a game on Friday. I usually run a game now. I think it's just become a thing. And one player's ability, Sosa, who I've mentioned before, because Sosa is also insanely good at Blood on the Clock Tower. He's good at everything he does. He's insane. He's an incredibly intelligent person. He had the ability where if good players are executed by vote, they may or may not die. And I didn't use his ability one time while I was running the game, and he was so cross with me because I never thought that no opportunity ever availed itself for me to save him, to save someone. So, I felt so bad. He was so upset with me. But yeah, Blood on the Clock Tower is a ton of fun. If you can get a massive group together, I don't think there's any game that beats it out for most fun group game. Next, D&D with the fam. D&D, as always, ton of fun. Loved it. Lots of RP in this last session. I'm glad. I don't think there's been quite enough RP in like my last ever. And so I was like, heck yes. I was super glad we finally got some RP stuff in. Especially because it's new map, new world. So yeah, I'm glad they're exploring it to the best of their abilities. Those are all the board games I played. Next, on the video games, played a little bit of Diablo 4. Have not played the new content patch or whatever, but I heard it sucks. Um,
That's
uh,
unfortunate.
yeah. I know a lot of people were really upset by it. But playing just the base game's a ton of fun. I really enjoy the base game. Though I haven't picked it up in a while, mainly because I have been playing Baldur's Gate 3.
There it is.
Hey,
boy.
Absolute banger of a game. Holy crap, that game is insane. They thought of god dang everything.
Pretty much.
I have no idea how on earth they have added so much detail into that game. It is utterly, it's insane. It's just insane. They thought of every single possibility. They have NPCs on NPCs on NPCs, and each one has unique dialogue to go through. How? You can speak with dead with every character in the entire game,
Mhm.
and
That
they
sounds
will
about
give
right.
you answers. How? How? How did you have the time? Dang, and the animations are so beautiful and fluid too. Like, they have some of like the best idle animations during dialogue that I've seen like in any game. Like, I haven't, if they do repeat, I haven't noticed it because they're just so fluid. Dang, it's insane. It is the ideal way to experience 5e2 because they took away a lot of the garbage that 5e has. Like,
Yep.
taking a potion is an action.
Mhm.
Now it's a bonus action, which is an absolute must because the fact that drinking a potion in combat takes an action is ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure every single campaign I've ever been in has homebrewed bonus action. Has multiple spells a turn. You can. There are a few others, but either way, great, 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 great game. It's sitting at like a 96 on Metacritic, and it deserves every single point. I chose Karlach when playing. I chose not to make a custom character,
Hmm.
just because I wanted the experience of like doing a character quest. Um, and yeah, she's great. Whole cast is great. Oh yeah, I haven't even mentioned the performances. Performances are stellar. Um, I think out of all the characters, Asterion might be my favorite, just because he's just such a freaking scamp. I absolutely love him. Um, yeah, freaking Baldur's Gate, man. What a great freaking game. Now on to the games I have been playing multiplayer. Warzone 2. Me and my cousin have gotten into it again. We were playing Rainbow Six Siege, and then my cousin said, "Hey, my friend wants to play Warzone. Do you want to play Warzone?" And I said, "Sure, I'll play Warzone." So we've been playing Warzone.
But
And
you
yeah,
haven't
it's
been
pretty
playing
fun.
Baldur's Gate co-op.
No, I have not. I have not been playing Baldur's Gate.
Seems like
I
it's
have
one
been
of those.
going solo. What's that?
Just seems like it would be incredibly fun to do co-op on that.
Oh yeah, I have no question. I actually talked to my friend Sosa. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to get Baldur's Gate 3 because I don't really have anybody to play with, and my schedule's kind of erratic. So I don't know if I'll be able to like anybody to sit down and play with me whenever I actually have some free time. And I said, no, I will absolutely play with you. So you should totally get it because I'm going to be playing. I'm playing it through solo by myself. So I don't mind your regular schedule. But yes, I will probably play a co-op with somebody at some point. If any of y'all ever want to play Baldur's Gate 3 co-op, I'm there. Just hit me up. HMU.
Alright.
But
Well, the problem with me is that I don't play games the first year they
yes,
come out.
that's true. This is
Do,
true.
do you
I
have
do know this.
Divinity Original Sin?
I have Divinity Original Sin 2.
Alright. Maybe next time that goes on sale.
Yes. But I got lucky though. I bought Baldur's Gate 3 back when it was in early access, so I saved like $20 on the purchase. So yeah, thank God. It's so cool that they give you access to the full game if you got into early access. So much freaking detail. Warzone is fun. It's not as good as Warzone 1, kind of mid in comparison, but it's fun getting victory royales. Even if 99% of the time we get absolutely stomped into the ground, all good. So that I played Rainbow Six, and I played Risk of Rain 2 with my girlfriend. It's her
Ooh.
favorite game, or not her favorite, but I mean her favorite to play with friends. So we play a lot of Risk of Rain 2. That game is so much fun. Oh my god. I would highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. It's basically Binding of Isaac, but in 3D.
Accurate description.
And yes, and it is so much fun.
Just like Isaac, I'm so bad at Risk of Rain too. It's my friends have to carry me so often.
Oh my god, Brittany! Every time I play with Brittany, she carries me like nothing else. We only play the hard mode, and
No.
I will literally die early on in a mission at some point, and so
Oh,
I'll
same.
be super behind on items.
Oh, same.
So like we'll jump into the next stage, and like I'll be like 5 levels under leveled with like half the items everybody else has, and
Yep.
I just get stomped. I just
Yep.
get stomped. I try to recover, but then like I'm like I run up to an enemy. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna kill this guy real quick, and then he wrecks. Me. He absolutely wrecks me. The stupid little manta ray enemies, they just murk me. Literally snipe me from off screen. I get killed in 5 seconds by those things. They're freaking awful. Risk of Rain 2 is fun. Last game I played was a little indie game by the name of 999.
Yeah.
Yes. It's one of my GF's favorite games. Basically, I sat down at a while back and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to see you play Undertale. Is there any game you would like to see me play?" And she like immediately said 999. I was like, "Sure." So we bought it on Steam. And the good thing about the Steam version is it has full voice acting. Stellar. Oh my god, the voice acting in the I was expecting it to be like horrible, like bad bad anime localization levels. No, every single actor is performing their heart out in that game. Amazing. It's just so freaking good. And the story in that game is so amazing. All the different endings are so much fun to get.
Did you beat it?
I beat it. Yeah, I
Yes.
finished it.
Okay. There is a part at the end of that game that is because the game was a DS game originally. It does something that can only be done on a DS, and it was one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen. There's one last puzzle in the game. How does that work on not the DS?
They changed the puzzle, the final puzzle.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Like I know the final puzzle. I know is a running joke. That the final puzzle is basically Sudoku. But yeah, they changed the final puzzle in the Steam version. Can I just say the reveal ultimately of why the Nonary games are happening? It's just genius. It's you literally would never guess what the heck is actually going on, but when you get to it, it's such a poignant, emotional moment that's just so beautiful and like, oh my god, it's one of my favorite games now. I think I will go back and play it again at some point. Especially just again, the performances in that game are just so freaking good. All of the characters' voices match their characters. God, what a great freaking Junpei, the guy who plays the main character, Junpei, stellar. He's so freaking good. What the heck? Like this game is like what, like 15 years old? Like no, older than that. Older than 15, like 20. And literally God. How the heck do they get such good voice acting for this? Yeah. All the puzzles are super satisfying to solve. Characters are amazing. The conclusion is amazing. Like the whole game's amazing. Have to play the other ones at some point.
Yes, Virtue's Last Reward is fantastic, and Zero Time Dilemma is very Controversial. Very, very. Most people say it's the worst one. I think story-wise, it probably is, but also it has my favorite puzzles.
Yep.
And
I feel that.
if you like the writing in those games, you should watch a little anime called Punchline.
Punchline.
It is the same writer doing a wacky superhero anime.
It sounds amazing. What the heck?
It's incredible. It's also very, very, very weird.
Dang, this sounds fire. I'm gonna have to check that out. But anyway, 999 fire game. Utterly freaking fire. So that's everything I've played. Onto what I've read. I finished up Left Hand of Darkness, book my girlfriend recommended to me. That's a fantastic book. Classic
Yeah.
sci-fi in the best sense.
Look when
So
she does it.
yes, yes, yes. Fantastic. Basically, the basic synopsis is a guy from a basically collection of worlds who basically have formed like a sort of loose federation. Um, it's like it's not really there's no like governance, but it's like it's almost like a trading collective. Basically comes to this planet like primitive in comparison, no spaceships, none of that. It's an ice planet, and basically the everybody living on that planet is of ambiguous sex. So they change sex during because they have like an estrus cycle, so they change sex during the estrus cycle. It's very interesting, very unique, and it's sort of just the entire book is just sort of the main character experiencing the world and everything in it, and there's sort of a loose narrative going on, but in general, it's just one of the most creative books I've ever read. Um, it's clear Ursula K. Le Guin, who did Tales from Earthsea,
Yeah.
is just so creative. She just knows exactly what she's doing when it comes to world building. Absolutely loved it. And then I moved on to a book that Jordan, you and Zach may recognize.
Oh.
I began reading Oathbringer.
Oh.
Yeah.
At long last. At long last. It feels
That's
like
my
a
favorite
million
one.
years.
Ooh.
That's
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it's controversial, but I like it's my favorite. It's my favorite one.
It's got my
Thank you,
favorite.
I like it.
Got my favorite. My favorite thing that Brandon. Well, okay. Besides Tress of the Emerald Sea, it's got my favorite thing that Brandon's ever written. But that's because Tress hits all of my boxes perfectly.
I feel that. But yes, Bringer's awesome. I just got past the section where they discovered the second body. And man, it feels like a trillion years since I've read a mainline Stormlight book. But God, is it so freaking good? I'm so glad to be back into this world. Just reading, experiencing it. And Kaladin is still my favorite character, I think. I was gunning for a number 2 spot, but yeah. After what Adolin did at the end of the last book, he is also one of my faves as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did do that.
Man, this character that was just nothing but a side, obviously just a side character in the first book, now one of the best characters.
Yes. Does something very poggers, very lit.
Very cash money, if you will, I guess.
Very cash money, if one were to be so brave. Yeah, no. Oathbringer's awesome. I can't wait to read more. Can't wait to talk about it more. Everything. thing I've read, on the things I've listened to Clues, which is 1/3 of a band I really, really, really like, which is the Unicorns. Unicorns is one of my favorite bands, probably number 2 or 3, I'd say. And one of the 3 members broke off on his own after they released their first album and did an album called Clues, which is only bangers. It's oops, all bangers. There's not a bad song on that album. I have listened to it a million times and I am not tired of it. And every single song is better than the last. It's genuinely one of my favorite albums ever. Yeah, absolute bangers. Next, I listened to some of the Microphones, The Glow Part 2. That album's a banger. Really, really, really freaking good output by the Microphones. I'll probably go back to it again and again and again. Lastly, Lingua Ignota. She is a noise musician who might be loosely described as Christian if you squint and turn your head sideways. Her music features an immense deal of Christian imagery, an immense deal, and she is Christian herself. But a lot of the things she says in her music would almost certainly be considered blasphemous. The question is, does she mean it to? Is she saying it because she believes it, or is she saying it in order to criticize it? And I don't think there's ever a clear delineating line drawn there. So, yeah, it would be absolutely horrific for an actual Christian to listen to that music, but it's still filled with bangers, absolute bangers. Everything she puts out is good. She's no longer producing music under that label, but it's fine. She produced so much good music before then. Okay, so that's everything of everything. The only other things to mention are last night I went out drinking and had a great time with all my friends. My girlfriend and I got plastered. I love liquid marijuana, so if you're ever at a bar, order the liquid marijuana. It's great. It's very sweet, which I absolutely need for an alcoholic beverage. If I drink something alcoholic and I taste the slightest amount of bitterness, I will recoil.
I taste the slightest amount of alcohol in my alcoholic beverage, I'm out.
Exactly. I'm the same way with coffee. Like, if I taste the slightest amount of coffee in my coffee, I recoil. I freaking scrunch up. Awful. I can't take bitterness, so I need something sweet. But yeah, had a great time last night. I sang a lot of karaoke songs. I sang Mr. Brightside, Human, and Viva La Vida. That was fun. Yeah, Mr. Brightside's an absolute classic. You gotta when it's time for karaoke, you gotta get up on stage. You gotta sing Mr. Brightside. I actually did karaoke before we even went out to go drink. We did karaoke, me, my girlfriend, and my friend Tommy. We all went drinking, or we all went karaokeing, and then we got to the bar, and then we did some additional karaoke there. Yeah, that was fun. And I start school tomorrow, so should be fun. I actually haven't checked out too much of my curriculum. I should probably do that. But yeah, so that is everything. Quite a bit to cover, but yeah.
Right on.
Now on to you, Sir Jordan.
Yeah, that's my cue, I guess. So
yeah.
Welcome to my segment once again, everybody. As you know, I'll only be showing up for even Talk the Plank episodes. Let's keep this trend going.
yes.
No, but for real, yeah. These past couple of months, I've been doing a lot more getting out, I would assume. Well, not I would assume, just in general. So I didn't play or watch too much, so I'll just kind of run through those quick things really quick. I watched Barbie. I I kind of jinxed myself. I looked at Barbie and I was like, that looks funny. That looks cool. Everybody looks like they're having a good time, but I'm not gonna go to the theater by myself to go see Barbie. I'ma just like, if I get invited to go see it, I'll go see it then. And then like 5 minutes later, a group of my work friends were like, "Hey, you want to see Barbie right after work?" And I was like, "Cool, I guess it's meant to be." Uh, yeah, that's a good movie. That was way better than I was expecting. But also like the movie does kind of a funny thing where it's like a haha existential dread, but also it's kind of funny, isn't it? We do little silly jokey jokes every so often, but yeah, it's uh it's uh it's rough out here for everybody, and it's like, all right, I saw the vision. Greta, you did a great job. And it's so funny because the movie's self-aware enough to be like, hey, this is kind of an issue that we got in our society. And it's like, oh man, are we gonna expound on that? And she's like, what? No, this is a movie about toys. This is not this is a movie about toys. We're not going way much deeper than like acknowledging the thing, but it's it's a good time, you know. Everybody put their heart and soul into the performance. Margot Robbie, of course, did a fantastic job. Ryan Gosling also did an amazing job. He he really sold it as Ken. He was indeed Ken Uff. I gotta say his music numbers, those dance numbers in the movie, I was like, okay, this is kind of impressive. This is cool. This is cool. So, yeah, good movie overall. I really enjoyed it. I was laughing it up in my seat while watching it. So, yeah, it was a good movie. I hate to disappoint everybody. I did not do the Barbenheimer double feature.
Dang it.
I know. I'm a disappointment. I'm a failure. Uh, I'll see Oppenheimer at some point eventually, but everybody I know has said that it's really, really good. So I might try and catch it either sometime this week or within the next couple of weeks. But I don't know, guys. Blue Beetle just came out, and I actually do kind of want to see that, to be honest. But either way, that's everything that I watched. Gang. Moving on to things that I played, gang. I don't know if I'm finishing Tears of the Kingdom this year. Um I don't I don't know. Um I played a little bit, and you know, I think I've only finished 2 of the overall dungeons, and I'm trying to get to try and get to most of the tier locations to kind of uncover the memories, but like, oh, this game is a lot. This game is a lot, and I feel bad because I want to play other things, but I know myself too well. If I don't finish Tears of the Kingdom now, it's just never going to get finished, and I don't want it to sit on my shelf for years at this point, not being finished, because apparently everybody says that the ending to Tears of the Kingdom is really, really good. So I'm just got to push forward. And I I am using it as a motivator because 2 really interesting games. Well, one game just came out. Not Baldur's Gate 3. I will get around to Baldur's Gate 3 eventually, but I'm probably not this year.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to mention.
I think you know what I'm gonna mention. You know what I'm gonna mention? Is it?
I do think
it's Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I have to play.
Oh no, actually, I didn't.
Oh really? Oh okay.
I thought you were gonna say AC6.
AC6.
Armored Core 6.
Armored Core. Yeah, I've actually never played Armored Core before.
Me neither.
The trailers have been convincing me pretty.
It looks pretty interesting though. It looks pretty cool, but
it's on my list.
It's gonna pick up Bomb Rush Cyberpunk at some point, but I told myself I'm not gonna finish Bomb Rush Cyberpunk until I finish Zelda, because I need to finish this game. So, yeah, I'll get to it eventually. Other than that, just playing the usuals, getting those Street Fighter games in, losing, getting pissed off, and then turning it off. Playing Rocket League, losing, getting pissed, and turning it off. You know, same as it ever was, unfortunately. So. Hitting those grinds. That's about it for everything that I played. Now, I will say I have been reading a lot more in these past couple of months. I am doing pretty good on my reading challenge, if y'all know what I mean. I might have talked about this occasionally in a previous podcast, but I'm trying to read 23 books in 2023.
Oh,
As of right now, I have finished. I am on book number 16, and I finished 15 up to this
nice.
Dang.
point. So
That's
there's a
On track.
very, very good. Yeah, I am on track. So very good chance that I'll finish by the end of the year. Have a couple of books down the pipeline, but some of the books that I've read back in July, one of these books that I've had since high school. It's been kind of sitting on my shelf, and I never got around to reading it. And I was like, yeah, let me pick it up. I might as well give it a shot. It's The Road by Cormac McCarthy.
Ooh.
That
The
book is
original The Last of Us.
the original. Well, yeah, I guess the original The Last of Us. It was interesting because the book, it's very Cormac McCarthy is very good at writing prose, but he's also very plain when it comes to his writing dialogue, right?
Mm.
Because he will go in depth and describe the barren landscape, how and the situation, and some of the most interesting prose that I think I've read all year. And I was like, oh man, this is great. But like the road basically centers around this father and this son as they go on the road after there is a disaster that happens, and society has it. They're in a post-apocalyptic wasteland essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, but my biggest issue with the road was that a lot of it was just kind of like, son, yeah, are you doing okay? Yeah. Do you want to talk about it? No. Okay, we got to keep going on the road. And he's like, okay. And it's like, that is unfortunately most of the book. It's very much a, the father and the son come upon this thing, and this is what they do, and then they loot, and then they grab the stuff, and things happen. And it's still good. I still think it's a very, very good book. There's some. I must say it wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be. I had thought that before I read it, I remember people were like, "Oh, the road is just, oh, it's it's so hard to read. It's so sad. It's so horrifying." And I was like, "Oh man, okay." And I will say those first like 100 pages, yeah, it's pretty rough. It's pretty horrifying. But after that, it kind of mellows out a bit. And yeah, it's still a very good book. I definitely I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's how it goes." Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff that happens in it that I was like, oh no. um,
I think my
Mhm.
favorite part of the book is probably where the guy turns to his son and says, "You know, son, I really feel like the road right now."
We really were the road,
Yeah.
aren't we?
The kid was just like, it's time for me to go road it out, and he rode it all over.
Rode it
He
all
was
over the
roading all
place.
over the place.
Oh man.
Yeah, The Road, solid novel. It's only like 200, 300 pages long. So,
Oh,
It
I
did,
know
I-
that.
I'd
it did
recommend-
sell a Rodillion copies, though. I'll give it that.
That's true. They did. That's true.
Do your duty as a true roadhead, and pick yourself up a copy of The Road. I'd say it's still a good read. It's still a pretty good read. If you want a proto version of The Last of Us, what The Last of Us essentially is, give it a read. It's pretty good. Now after that, I was like, man, fantasy, that's kind of my genre. I'm always reading a fantasy book. I should read something that is not a fantasy book. What should I read? And a friend of mine was like, "Hey, this is my favorite book of the year. You should read this." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What's it about?" And he's like, "It's a romance question mark novel, but apparently it's really, really good." So I
think
picked
I
it
know
up.
what it is.
I picked it up and read it. The book is called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Oh, never
Well,
mind.
that's a Macbeth reference.
It is exactly.
I know exactly
Um,
what that's referencing. That doesn't sound like a romance.
Oh
so
no.
the novel is about these two very accomplished this guy and this girl. They're both very accomplished. One studying at Harvard, the other studying at MIT. And one of them goes to the other after years of having known them, and he's like, "Hey, I want to make a game with you. I want to make a video game with you." And so it's
Ooh.
basically kind of them coming together, making this one game, and then like going off past, their college years and into the future, and the things that happen basically to them. And it's interesting because it's like kind of a love story, but not really. It's about two people who kind of really, really appreciate, well, I say they appreciate each other, but a lot of the times they don't know how to tell each other that they appreciate each other. And so it's as my friend has described, these characters are very beautifully flawed. And
Mm.
it's a book that I wasn't expecting to really like, but um it was I was hooked on that book. I think I read it in like 5 days or something. It was uh it was very, very, very good. I don't want to say too much about it because a lot happens over the course of the book, and even though I feel this might not be up you guys' alley, but it is interesting because it does definitely drop a lot of references to like gaming as a whole, but it's not about games. Like,
Saying it's
you
not
know,
the literary masterpiece known as Ready Player One.
no, that's what I like about this
Yes.
book because Ready Player One, it always felt like, hey, you remember Ghostbusters, right?
Hey,
Ghostbusters, it's
gamers.
pretty cool. Hey, gamer, do you remember this obscure game from the 80s called Joust? Bet you don't. Like,
Hey, do you know
and
who Guile is? He's from
yeah,
Street Fighter.
right. And so this book does something interesting, but because it's like, yeah, part of it takes place in the 90s, and one of the characters is like, oh yeah, let's play this new Metal Gear game. It's called Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. It's not going to follow what happened but like the book isn't about games. It uses games as a vehicle to drive the plot between these two characters forward.
So
Um
more like
mhm.
what's that? There's like a movie with I think Adam Sandler and
Don't say
dang it,
Pixels.
dang it, I forget who.
Thinking of Pixels?
Don't say
No,
Pixels.
not Pixels.
Okay.
I'm thinking of I forget the guy who plays Rhodey in Marvel.
Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle. Why did I forget his name? But I think it is those two in it, and they have there's like a few points where they play Shadow of the Colossus, and it's not
Something like that.
it's more just like a vehicle for like discussion and stuff, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Something like that.
Because I think that one hit hard because it was like all about like 9/11 aftermath
Mm.
and fighting giant towering monsters. Really hits hard after that.
You may have to send that over. I might have to watch a movie occasionally, which I occasionally do.
On
Um,
occasion, I am known to.
on
watch
occasion, yeah. Sorry.
movies.
But yeah, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, it's very good. I won't say why the title of the book is, but yeah, it's very good. It's a very good
Think about
book.
that would be an excellent title for a certain kind of romance.
What? I'm sorry. What? What was that?
The more I think about it, the title Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, the reference it's making would be an excellent title for a very specific kind of romance, and it's not particularly
Mhm.
happy.
Moving on. I don't want to say anything else, but
That's
moving on. um so those books I completed earlier this week, and well, not earlier this week. I completed a few weeks ago. Tomorrow I finished up like 2 weeks ago, I think. And after tomorrow, I was like, wow, romance, cool. I did it. Awesome. Well, it's time for me to go back to science fiction and or fantasy. And so I picked up the book that has been on my shelf for quite some time. Uh because I wanted to read it before the movie came out. I failed to do so, and I was like, well, part 2 is coming out this year, and now it's not, but I figured I still needed to read it anyways. I started reading Dune.
Hey.
Started reading Dune. That book's really good. That book's really good. Oh man. It's got some. Yeah, it's written a while ago, and there's some stuff that I was like, okay, all right, cool, okay, Frank, okay, Frank, okay, Frank, but
Okay, Frank, can we stop with this description? Good lord.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah, I after seeing the Villeneuve Denis Villeneuve's version from a couple of years ago, uh reading the book is interesting because like even now it's just like, oh, there is so much more here that the movie was not able to go to that really fleshes out some of the just everybody, you know? And currently I'm only like I just finished part 1. There's 3 parts to the book essentially. I just finished part 1, so I'm about a third of the way through. Um and I'm like slowly reaching the part where the movie finished up, and so it's been really fun to kind of make these comparisons between like what the movie did versus what's in the book. And so it's interesting. I basically don't know how this ends. All I know is that this guy's probably not the best. This kid's probably not the best by the end. Which um you know, I'm kind of getting there, but the book itself pretty good, pretty interesting. Yeah, really enjoying it. So I'll keep y'all posted as to the end, but yeah, it's probably my favorite sci-fi book that I've read at least this year. I know for sure, but um definitely one of my favorite books that I've read in a while. Very cool. Very cool. Very interesting. Yeah. That's about it for everything that I've read. And then I just kind of, went out and did some stuff over the past couple of months, brother was in town back last month for my birthday, so we kind of hung out for a bit, went to a few museums, uh had some fun. Hang out, went back to Texas for a bit, hung out with the family for like a weekend, so that was nice. That was also cool. Um and other than work, I've just been kind of taking care, doing chores. I got some more plants for my apartment, which is nice. Um, and there's one more thing I want to talk about, which it's just kind of an unrelated tangent, but it's something that's been bothering me for the past like couple of years. So, uh, Aaron, I'm sure all of you know. One of my favorite systems ever is the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy
Of course.
line of systems. I remember hanging out with Aaron back in high school and going to Game Shop and picking up my first Game Boy. Good old times, grand old times. Uh, so there's this company called Analog, right? And they make very boutique, like reproduction systems essentially, and they've done it for the Super Nintendo, they've done it for the Genesis, they've done it for the Mega Drive, all that great jazz. And so a couple of years ago they were like, hey, we're going to do one for the Game Boy. It's going to be really cool, it's going to have a nice big screen, it's going to be like HD, and you can play all your old carts on it. It'll be great. And they shadow dropped it like 2 years ago, back in like 2021, and they were like, yeah, everybody, get your pre-orders in, do the thing, ha ha ha. And the rollout for that was kind of, to say the least, a disaster. People had ordered back in like December, and they weren't getting their units in like, July or June. But at the same time, that was when we were kind of in a chip shortage, so a lot of people were like, okay, that's a bit understanding, right? And so they've been releasing more in waves, and you can go on their site and pre-order it. And I remember end of last year, they were like, okay, we're gonna send out these ones that we have, right? And then we'll have these in group orders. So if you pre-order now, you might get it by the end of 2022. If you pre-order now, you also might get it by like 2023. It's fine. It's whatever, right? And so people were very upset with them because it took them a very long time to process these orders. But it also might have been because they got like a lot more orders than they were expecting. And so I placed my order last November, and so that put me in the 2023 group. And I was like, cool. Now that I have the money, now that I have a job, now that I have expendable income, I can spend my money on this, and we're good. And I'll just wait a year for this because I can afford to wait a year for this. It's gonna be fine. I just got the email on Friday. They're like, "Hey, we're processing your order. It's coming soon." And I have been glued to my email inbox and quickly refreshing the UPS page. So hopefully that'll be in pretty soon. I can't wait to have my hands on it. It's gonna be so cool. I like funky little gadgets like this. It's gonna be nice. I'll have to send you all a pic once it arrives, but yeah, just an unrelated thought that I kind of wanted to update y'all on. Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
So, all right.
Well, I hope there are no more delays in it reaching you.
Well, I really hope so. That'd be really sad if there was a last minute delay. But you know what? I can't be too mad. I just kind of put it out of my head until I got the emails, and then I've been like, oh yeah, this thing exists. Let me obsess over it for like a week and a half. But yeah, I'll have to send you guys some pics of it in action. Grab it. But yeah, that's about it on my end for everything. I tried to keep it short and brief this week. I may have failed, but oh well.
Yeah, Gucci. I think you did a great job.
All right, Mitch, what you up to?
Mitchell.
Excellent question. What have I been up to? Let's see. I've been doing the
checks notes.
Been playing a little bit more Nier Automata, as you can see on the Discord.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've gone almost every ending except like 2 of them. It includes like ending E, which I'm pretty sure you have to like delete your save file in order to actually do.
What? No. Of course
I haven't done that. So I haven't done that one yet. So yeah, I think I did all of the quests except like the DLC, like arena trials, because I don't know if I want to go through those yet, or if I want to bother doing them at all.
I feel that. I didn't.
Yep. So yeah, a whole lot of just mindless grinding of items. So I have been listening to a podcast. I tried to find like a little podcast to listen to while I did that. So I'm picking back up the Magnus Archives.
Nice.
Which is a little horror story podcast that I listened to several years ago and kind of just dropped. So I picked it back up and have been working my way back through it. I don't know. I enjoy it. I like the. It starts off very episodic and with short little disjointed stories, but they slowly start piecing things together and start revealing like an overarching plot. So that's kind of interesting.
Very cool.
Yep, I like it. It's a fun little horror podcast. Along with the other one I like is Old Gods of Appalachia.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good. They had Yuri Lowenthal for like one of the monsters, or like one of like the entities, spirits, whatever you call them. They had Yuri Lowenthal on the podcast for Old Gods of Appalachia. So that was super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that Persona 3 remake.
Oh yeah.
That seems super cool.
Wait.
I have to ask myself, do I really want to play through Persona 3 again?
Hey, here's the thing. It's a very different game. It's probably going to be more like 5. Only thing is they're changing the entire voice cast.
Yeah.
Which could be...
Dang.
It could,
on one hand,
at the most, at best, it will be a neutral change.
Yes. I mean, on one hand, Fuka could only get better.
That's true. Never mind. It could be a positive.
This could be a positive. Fuka can only get better.
Fuka and what's his face could only get better.
No, gentlemen. When we refer to voice acting, are we referring to the inferior English voice acting or the far superior Japanese
come
voice
on.
acting?
Oh, come on.
Aaron, we are talking about the only available cast for Persona 3 at the current time.
That's fair. Sorry, I was spoiled by 5, allowing me to choose between English and Japanese.
I think
English
so.
cast in 5 is good. They're very good.
I'm sure they're good, but I like the Japanese better.
I feel like the English cast in 3 is pretty good so far. I like some of the VAs. I like some of the new VAs they picked. I'm excited for them.
I'm glad I didn't start playing 3. I was because I bought the 3 and 4 versions for the PS5, and I started playing 4 first because I was like, everybody says this is the not as good one compared to 3, so I'll play this first so I don't get my hopes dashed for 3. Yeah, so I don't play 3 and then play 4 and be really disappointed. And then they announced the remake, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just literally wait until that comes out.
Yeah, and I think 3 and 4 are both equally, well, not really equally, but it's like hard to really put them in a tier list. They're great for separate things and separate reasons.
Sure.
I think like the story is a little bit cooler in 3, but the quality of life changes in 4 are just
they're very nice. And also
that's so nice to have.
The pacing in 4 is much better because the pacing in 3 is downright glacial.
Yeah. But anyway, so they released a new trailer for the Persona 3 remake. And we still have the dual summons, which is great. It looks like we still have the dual summoning. There was like a short clip where it looked like you were having one of the social links with one of the male characters of the group, so it looks like they might be revamping the social links a little bit.
Okay.
Because
I'm interested in how they're gonna do Persona evolutions because that was very different in 3 compared to 4 and 5. And if they're
the Persona, yeah. I'm kind of interested in seeing if they are like redoing some of the Persona on some of the social link tracks. Like, do we really need to have Moon from the original Persona 3 game? Can we cut that one out?
Which one was Moon?
Can we just? I think Moon was just the fat guy.
Oh yeah, just cut that one.
We could get rid of him.
Everybody hates that one. Cut it.
We hate that a lot. We could just get a new one. Yeah, because unlike in 4 and 5, you didn't have like individual social links with each of the teammates. You kind of just had one general team persona, and then the female characters. You didn't like get to hang out with Junpei.
Yeah,
like by himself, unless you were playing female.
Female main character, you can't do social links with the girls, but you can do social links with guys.
So I'm interested in seeing if they make individual social links with all of the team.
I assume so because that's how 4 and 5 work.
Yeah, I hope so, but again, how is that gonna work? Or can we get rid of Moon?
Not being able to do social links with the same gender, that's outrageous. That's unfair.
It's there. This is the game they've remade the most amount of times because with the female main character, it was basically just an entirely different game, and now now in this one, it's an entirely different game. So, did they? Do we know if female main character is a thing in this one?
They have. I haven't seen anything about female main character. It seems like they've only stuck with the male one.
I'm gonna have to keep pulling out my Vita to play that.
They do not have the female main character or the DLC.
So they don't have the end or the answer.
They do not have the end. No. or the answer, whatever it's called. Yeah, they
Whatever
do
it's
not have
called. It's like, what was it? The journey and the answer.
Oh yeah, the journey is the main story. The answer is the terrible, terrible epilogue story that everyone hates. And the
So
only
apparently they're not including the answer.
yeah, good. The only good thing that
Just
ever
got rid
came
of
of that was Shoji Meguro's soundtrack, and it's fantastic. Heartful Cry is one of the best songs he ever wrote. It's so good. Not worth the answer. I didn't even play the answer. Playing the answer is also atrocious, but I just watched the cutscenes for the answer like the day after I beat Persona 3, and Persona 3 is one of my favorite endings in any video game. The answer almost ruined it for me. It's terrible. It's not even worth watching the cutscenes.
Yeah, I just ignored it.
Good. You're smart, not me.
Well, mostly just because you adamantly told me not to. So I just took your word for it. Like, okay,
I
yeah,
suffer
I
for
really
your
like
sake.
the ending of Persona 3, and you say that is terrible, so why not? Persona 3 ended perfectly good,
It did.
so I believe it.
It is a perfect ending.
It's a very good ending. Let's see, and that, Sarcasm, yada yada yada. I've read just a tiny bit more of One Piece, where they're heading to, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Ines Down,
Ines Lobby?
Ines
Intel
Lobby,
down? Yeah.
whatever it is.
Ines Lobby, yeah.
How about that live action One Piece though?
I don't know.
Oh,
I will be seated. I will be seated. You know what?
It actually it actually doesn't look half bad. I'll say that.
it doesn't look
Okay.
nearly as bad as Cowboy Bebop.
It doesn't.
True.
I'll say that.
They have that on Cowboy Bebop at least.
Too. And
Creators' approval helps.
that Cowboy
That's true.
Bebop. Oh. How they massacred my boy.
Unpopular opinion here, but
Cowboy-
the Cowboy Bebop Netflix show was not good.
Well,
Unpopular.
well,
I
that's
could-
a hot take.
How could you be so controversial? Yes, so right.
I know. I know. Unpopular opinion. I know.
But,
What do you think of One Piece so far? What you think?
so yeah, I like it. I've enjoyed reading it because I can read way faster than I can watch.
That's what I was saying. That's what I always
True.
said.
Like, I can read pretty fast.
Yeah. My friend was like, "No, you gotta watch the anime," and I'm not.
It's like,
No.
no, man.
No.
No, man. I want to catch up at some point during let's see, my lifetime on this earth.
What, you don't like 100 episodes of filler?
Oh, don't get me
all.
started. Don't even get me started.
Let's see. Yeah, One Piece is getting good. I hear that this is kind of where it starts getting like really, really good.
I would agree with that. I would
Okay,
agree.
great.
Yeah.
I get back
I
on
really
that.
did like those. I really did like those arcs. Yeah.
I'm definitely invested. I've just been kind of busy the past couple of weeks with work and whatnot. But let's see. Of course, I've been playing my comfort MMO, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Guys, remember that stupid PvP map that I hate and I never win?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I finally won it.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was
Nice.
finally on the winning team for once. Holy cow. Finally on the winning team. Not only did I win once, I won twice in a row on that stupid map. It plopped me in that map twice. I hate this stupid map. Even winning doesn't feel good. I hate it so much. I feel bad for the second win. Here's how the second win went down. Again, it's a giant corridor. There's 3 doors that the attacking team has to get through within a certain amount of time, and then they run down the hallway and click the objective at the end. The attacking team got through the 3rd door with like 10 seconds left on the clock, and we won. The defending team won.
Woo.
Nice.
Like, I'm literally watching them run down the hallway toward the objective, and then it said, "Hey, you win." It's like, oh, that can't feel good. That doesn't even feel like a good win.
A win is a win in my
A
book.
win is a win. Man, I feel bad for the attacking team, like, because you know that the person in front had to just be clicking, hoping that they finally get within range as the final second ticks down. It doesn't even feel like a good win. But yeah, unfortunately, thanks to Star Wars and their new very bad, no good gearing system, in order to upgrade my PvE gear, I have to do a lot of PvP because the PvP weeklies give the best ratio of time to resources that I need to upgrade my PvE gear. They're very bad, no good gearing system that no one likes. Other than that, been busy working, been busy just because I haven't had a lot of energy to do things because I don't know if y'all noticed, it's been kind of freaking hot the past couple of weeks.
A little bit.
Yeah.
What?
It's been a little hot,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
It's been a tad bit warm out there.
I didn't notice.
Pretty heated, I must say.
Yeah, I'm pretty heated right now. We're on this heat index of like 110 degrees with 90% humidity out in the
Oh.
blazing sun.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
It has been quite miserable. And this past week I was helping out on another site like a few hours away, so I couldn't even get out there at a decent hour at the start when it's already like 85 degrees.
Man. Oh.
So I've kind of just been coming home, eating, showering, passing out,
Yeah, that sun will zap you.
kind of watching random YouTube videos because I don't have the mental energy to do anything else this past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But I will get into what I've mostly been doing this past like month, which is playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey, there we go.
2. I really love actual.
Thank God. Okay. Thank God you got to play that because it falls off after that one.
Yeah, it does. I gotta say.
Falls off after 2.
Every time, man. Every time.
It's a good joke.
I won't lie, it's a good joke.
Man, I just really love Axel's delivery of 2 in that
It's really good.
with Roxas. 2.
2.
2. But anyway, yeah. Having Jack Sparrow talk to Donald and Goofy is kind of cursed, guys.
Yes.
It's really weird. Yeah, I don't like having to defend the ship part because I have some issues in that with critical mode because if you die, you have to go back to the map, click on where you want to go on the ship, then you get attacked on the ship, and then you arrive at the thing, and then you have to do this long fight where you gotta protect the like last gold coin thing from a bunch of pirates. And I die in 3 hits, and I don't like it. I don't like dying in 3 hits.
Fair enough.
I finally found out the coward strategy of stand in the back of the ship and spam Blizzard. Just
If
be
it
a
works.
coward.
If it works.
It's the only way I got there. I died like a dozen times trying to get past that one mission. And then I hit the wall. I hit the first main wall, which is Dimix, the stupid guitar guy. It makes the water clones. I don't like him. Let's see. I told Zach, I told you a little bit about having problems with Dimix. It is stupid. Problem is that
I never had
Yeah,
trouble
the problem-
with Dimix, but some people have a lot of trouble with him.
Yeah, the main problem is that it's hard to learn this combat system when I die before I learn what my mistakes are. So I started over on standard.
Oh no.
I stopped
It's
playing
okay.
critical mode. I still have the critical mode save file way at the bottom, But I started over on standard mode because I want to be able to play around with like the summons and the drive forms and the limits and all this random stuff that they throw in that I don't really get to play with because I die in 3 hits. And I've been having fun. I've been having fun with having happy fun time adventures with Donald and Goofy, and not having to worry about dying. I will probably get back to the critical mode once I beat the story in standard. I'll probably also do the data fights a lot in the standard mode, so that I can actually figure out what their patterns are and when it's safe to attack without immediately dying. Yeah. But even on standard mode, why did they put some of the most annoying enemy types in the first world, in Mulan World?
Oh yeah, but you don't like the centaurs?
Yeah, I don't like them. Even on standard mode, they're a pain in my butt. I don't like them. And I don't like those weird, stupid mage guys either, because they have very fast wind-ups that are hard to block. I don't like the centaurs because they have a lot of health and they have a lot of
You have a lot
dumb
of health,
attacks.
and they can stun lock you pretty bad.
They stun lock you real bad. I don't like them. So they really put two of like the most annoying enemy types in the entire game in the first world. But yeah, I have been having fun, having happy fun time adventures with Donald and Goofy, and not having to worry about dying as much. And actually being able to figure out what like limits that I actually like using and which ones are actually good. And let's see, I caught back up to where almost where I was at on my critical mode playthrough, and I fought Dimix again, and I still hate him. Even on standard mode, but it's a pain in my butt. I don't like him. It's like, but yeah, I finally figured out. It's mostly the second phase where he just throws up water walls everywhere.
Water walls?
It's hard. Just throwing up giant pillars of water everywhere. What is with this stupid homing pillar attack that he has? That's such bullshit.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one. I hate this one. What? How do I dodge this?
You have to preferably have something like Quick Run at that point, or just Reflect.
I have Quick Run. It does nothing.
Reflect.
Okay, I'm not very quick. I'm not quick enough on the reflex.
Dude,
I'm like, I know. I'll just run behind it when he does the homing thing. There's no way that it can just 180 on a dime. And oh no, wait, it does.
Oh yeah.
Nope. No big, just full 180.
I've died to Demix in all my times playing Kingdom Hearts. I've died to Demix once, and that was my first time playing Critical.
Okay, wow, cool. Good for you. Good for you.
Hey, Zaldin is the bane of my existence. I get
okay. Well, that's weird because I only died to Zaldin once on critical.
Exactly. So I have the one hard boss. You have the other one.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, for Zaldin, I just figured out like, oh, I just let you approach me, and then I reflex.
Until it's fine until the second phase when he starts teleporting.
When he starts teleporting. Even then, I picked up on the timing pretty good to jump over the little.
But when he has arrow on him and he teleports into you.
Okay, well, he never did that though, so see? I guess I just got really lucky.
You did.
I got really lucky. All right. But since I'm not dying in 3 hits to Dimix, I managed to figure out that lightning messes him up really good. Because it launches him in the air.
And guess what? Fire messes him up real bad.
Okay.
Fire messes him up real bad.
Lightning messes him up because it launches him in the air, and I can do like a full air combo with the Keyblade that does extra damage on finishers in the air.
Yeah.
Air combo finishers.
Oh, yeah. Hero's Crest.
Hero's Crest. So I figured out that works pretty good.
Yeah.
So I finally got past Dimix. I got past like the 1,000 Heartless fight.
Yeah.
where you have to fight it like you have to kill literally 1,000 Heartless.
Yeah, and it gives you the two Heartless with reaction commands that shred through them.
Fortunately, thank God,
It's
the one
so
mercy
fun.
they gave you. Fortunately, yeah, and you also have the limit form, which is fun. So yeah. Yeah, no, that's all I've done. That's all I've had time to do. That's all I've had to middle fortitude to do this past month. There's a whole lot of Kingdom Hearts 2. And with that, onwards to Nelson.
Alrighty. So, Jake, look up how many dice we're allowed to roll in combat. Saw something about a maximum of 5. I mean, we've been playing this game wrong again. But anyway, I have been quite busy, but in the meantime, I played a few games. I beat Final Fantasy 16.
Ooh.
First and foremost, that game is fantastic. I love that game. It's got some problems. I've seen some people say that with the story being so, in terms of the story is so focused on Clive that other characters really suffer and the story as a whole suffers. And I tend to agree with that. I've seen some people say that after the politicking is done and it goes more Final Fantasy, the story isn't as good. And I would also kind of agree with that, not as much, but
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree to that. I don't know. Yeah, definitely the height of the game story. I'd say your beef with Kafka is maybe my favorite part of the story. Um, and the only other real critique of it I would have, besides whenever you get into the Final Fantasy duper aspects, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like you said, the fact that like none of the other characters really get a chance to shine in the story. Um, this game, Final Fantasy 16, is very much a main character focused story, whereas past Final Fantasies were always about the cast. And I do kind of miss that. Like after playing Final Fantasy 7 remake, like the two are just like incomparable.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The best part of the game, story wise, is Twinside and the ending. The last
Yeah.
bit. Those are the best parts.
Oh yeah, the last bit's best.
The final boss is so cool. It's one of the best fights in the game. But it has the issue of all the later fights where I'm doing the exact same thing to this boss as all the others because I've got my setup already. Like I do the same thing to that boss as I do to the others. It's just got a more interesting pattern to dodge. Attacks I have to dodge. But then cinematically, that last phase is so cool, and I missed the coolest. I missed the coolest part of it because he died too quickly. Hold on.
Yeah, if you do all the side quests in that game, there's like nothing can stand in your way. You just obliterate everything.
Yeah, the side quests, the last batch of side quests was the best. All the others were kind of crap.
Oh yeah, no, hard agree. Yeah, like for some reason they just like for no reason, just freaking decided like to write in all of the actual story of the side quests in that last batch before the end.
That's it.
I was like, when I played it, I was like, why are these so good in comparison to like, go here, kill this goblin, and then come back. Oh, you killed the goblin? Cool. Here's like $1,000, and it's like, why?
It's weird that the most interesting side quests are all right at the end, and unfortunately, they're all most of them are at the end of chains of side quests So you have to go
Yes.
through a bunch of boring crap to get to the interesting stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, game's fantastic. I like the ending. I've seen some people say it's really ambiguous, and I would say yes, but not to the extent of other Final Fantasy games. Like, it's ambiguous enough to where I like it because I can come to my own interpretations and conclusions. Whereas, like,
Excuse me.
come on. Whereas, like, Final Fantasy VII's ending, the original Final Fantasy VII, is so vague that I don't know what happened at the end.
What do you mean? Cloud looks at everybody and he's like, "All right, gang."
We really were
Let's
the Final
move-
Fantasy VII. But no, the final FF7's ending, like, I honestly think that's one of the reasons people have been clamoring for a remake for that game for so many years, because it just stops. Like, it doesn't even end. It just stops, and then you get 100 years later, 1,000 years later, whatever it was. Also, boy, the end of FF16, the epilogue of FF16 really reminds me of freaking Mass Effect.
Yep.
In a good way or the bad way?
Yes,
Good to know. Good to know.
it is like the very last scene is almost the exact same thing. It's really weird. But in terms of where I'd rate 16 among the Final Fantasy games I've played, I think I've beaten 7. I've beaten 9. I've almost beaten 6, but I need to build up my party before I go to Kefka's Tower.
Get your friends.
Yeah, great. I've beaten 7. I've beaten 9. I've beaten A Realm Reborn for 14, and I've beaten 16. So of those, I'd put 9 right at the top. 9's the best. 9's my favorite. Then I'd probably put... I could be swayed one way or the other between 16 and 14. I'd probably go 16, but 14 gets better after A Realm Reborn. So I'll say 16, then 14, then 7. And when if 6 ends on a good 6 is going to end on a good note. So it's probably going to be 6 is going to be above 7. It's probably going to be somewhere in among 16 and 14. Maybe above those. I don't think it's going to beat 9. 9 is my favorite. Then 7. If I had to grade 7 remake on there, weird to put it there, but if I had to, I'd probably put it above 16. I think 7 handles its 7 remake handles the cast a lot better than 16 does. I think if there were segments like at the beginning of the game where you're controlling another character, just a few segments like that spread throughout the game, I think the story and the gameplay would be a lot more balanced, and it would just bring it to the next level. I know 15 did that after like 15 DLCs. Maybe they should have done that, but it feels almost like 16 is a reaction against 15 in a lot of ways. So maybe they were purposely not doing that. They didn't want to get into the development hell that was Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, so 16's good. Then after that, I was still in a Final Fantasy mood, so I went back to Final Fantasy 14.
Nice.
Great game. I'm continuing on in Heaven's Word. the critically acclaimed expansion Heavensward.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't exactly sure. I wasn't sure what you meant when you just said Heavens.
Yeah. The critically acclaimed expansion Heavensward.
Got it.
I see.
Yes. Heavensward's story is fantastic. It's like if Realm Reborn's story is really good. It is very good classic Final Fantasy. Heavensward is just a whole step above that. It is fantastic. And the same writer who did that did the story for 16. So there's a few similarities here, but I think I'm liking I'm liking the story more in Heavensward, but it's also a lot more politics folk. Well, no, it's actually blending the politics and the Final Fantasy much better than 16 does. Lost my train of thought. Okay. Yeah, 14 is great. I finally got to level 60 with Paladin, which means that I can finally go play the class I wanted to play the entire time, so I'm a Gunbreaker now.
Nice.
I'm a Gunblade and tanking. So much fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's a ton of fun. And plus, I mean, I finished all of the Paladin quests for Heavensward, so I would have to beat Heavensward before I could get any more Paladin quests anyway. So it's a good time to go get Gunbreaker. Besides, between all the tanks, I think Gunbreaker has the best style. Coats are so cool.
I mean, you get the Gunblade.
And you get the Gunblade, and it's the best the Gunblade has ever been, because in FF8, it's just a
blade
timed hit on your basic attacks. And you also have to play FF8, and that sucks.
Dang, that's true. Very true.
But yeah, I'm gonna continue on that. I'm hoping to beat Heavensward at least before Baldur's Gate 3 comes out on PS5, because my PC cannot handle that game. So I'm hoping to beat it before then. I won't beat the in-between main story content, but I might be able to beat Heavensward itself. And also, good news for you guys who are still free trial players. They are updating the free trial on Final Fantasy XIV to go up to level 70 and include the Stormblood expansion as well.
Wait, whoa. I gotta know. Is the Stormblood expansion critically acclaimed?
Yes!
Much like the
free trial for Final Fantasy XIV now lets you go up to level 70, including the critically acclaimed Stormblood expansion.
Oh my goodness.
Yes!
Oh my goodness. Insanity. This is insanity. Two critically acclaimed stories in one
acclaimed expansion.
Honestly, I wouldn't even consider picking it up if it weren't critically acclaimed. I'm being quite honest. Now, what about the level 70? Is that also critically acclaimed?
Yes, obviously.
Awesome.
Obviously.
Man, I'm gonna have to jump back in and actually do stuff.
It's good. It's a good game.
Okay, I'm gonna be real with you right now.
Okay.
I'm doing fetch quests at the moment.
yeah.
I'm doing fetch quests at the moment. That's when I was like, okay, I'm 10 hours in. I'm still doing fetch quests for my class. How long does it take for this game to get good? And they're like, like 50 hours.
Realm Reborn is a little rough in places, but hey, look. I will play the game with you, man. We have 4 people now. We can do dungeons without having to match up with randos.
I just want to do the twinning meme. I saw the twinning.
I haven't even gotten to the twinning.
I saw the meme and was like, Final Fantasy XIV. That sounds fun. And then I had a Lalafell telling me, hey, could you go across the map and grab me something? I think that really helped.
Can you go across the map and inspect this thing. What do you mean? Do you mean just click on it? No, you have to do the inspect emote at this specific spot.
Oh my god.
I'll
shut
pick
up,
it up
Siri.
eventually. I'll pick it up eventually. I gotta.
Again, man, we'll get on each other's friends lists, and if you ever see me online, just hit me up, and I'll do some main story quests with you.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
I have to re-download Final Fantasy 14. I still kind of want to do like some of the bigger raids on Star Wars before I pick that one back up and
Understandable.
unsubscribe from Star Wars.
Fair.
Fortunately, Star Wars, you can unsubscribe and still play the game. They just kind of take away. They mostly just take away your ability to do raids and PvP. That's it, and I don't care about that.
That's nice.
I mean, they're kind of desperate at this point, so.
It's like, please just spend money on the cartel market. Just buy our cool stuff. We released a second Mandalorian skin. We have 2 Mandalorian armors.
Do you want a baby Yoda? Please.
I am
Yes, can I get
98%
Grogu?
sure there is a baby Yoda like
Ah, that's
thing
what
that
I'm
can follow
talking
you
about.
around.
That's what I'm talking about.
I will
Like
have
98%.
you know that the Disney required name for that character is Grogu.
Do you think I care what Disney wants me to call something? It's
The
Baby Yoda.
mandated
It's
Disney
Yoda,
name
but
for
baby.
that character is Grogu.
Listen,
I don't
listen.
care.
They should have thought about that before they made Yoda. And it's that's all I'm saying.
You really should have, honestly. Man, I'm so sick of Star Wars. I'm so sick of it.
Didn't Ahsoka come out like today?
It came out.
It
a few
came out
days
last
ago, yeah.
week.
I really
Another.
couldn't care less
But
about
that's
it.
great.
And no one cares. Nobody cares.
I've heard from some people, it's all right, and I've heard from other people, yeah, it's more trash.
He's like, yep, it's more Star Wars.
I've heard that it's very much like if you like Rebels, you can hop right in.
I
did not
don't.
watch Rebels, so
I watched that entire show, man, and there were parts where I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, this is such a good show! I can't oh my gosh, it's so good! They're really pulling it off." And then the characters start doing the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I go, "Screw this whole show, man! Why am I even watching this? Why am I even watching this? I go from some peak Star Wars content immediately into dumb, stupid crap."
but Glip Shido though.
Which one?
My favorite character, Glup Shido. Glup Shido, my beloved.
Man. Dude, ugh. Like there's some amazing moments in that show, but I can't think of a single episode where I can say that entire episode was great. And then there's things that you just notice when watching the show, and then you can never not notice again. Like, oh, they never kill anyone with a lightsaber.
Why would they? It's a kid's show.
Never do. Clone Wars did.
Yeah, but kids were just built different back then.
They were.
were just
Cartoon Network
built
guy. Cartoon Network guy was like, "Tune in to Clone Wars this Friday at 9," and I was like, "I'm seated. Who's getting murked? I need to see Maul come back and kill some people. This is gonna be great."
I can't wait for Asajj
Boom,
Ventress
there
to
it is.
brutally murder someone and then kiss them on the cheek as they die.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait for frickin' the character named Savage Opress to behead like 5 people.
What kind of a name is
Yes.
that? Now that I think about
It's such a dumb name.
Ran out of ideas. It's
My
the
favorite Blorbo showing up on the screen.
it's Zach. Have you seen those memes of like Tolkien being like, what to call? I have a tree. It has a beard. Ah, I've got it. Like that's the level of naming I'm talking about.
Shall I name this tree? Yes.
Oh, shout out Star Wars.
Man,
Uh,
I'm so glad that Star
I
Wars
found
has
the
gone
hover pod. I found the Baby Yoda pod.
yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
I'm so
So
glad
here's the
that
weird.
I'm so
So
glad
here's
that
the weird
Star Wars
thing.
went from a series that actually told stories into a series that is all about setting up the next show. Hey, look at this cameo for the next show, guys.
Guys,
I know you're interested in I know you want to hear about the Mandalorian, but look, here's Zeb. He's from Rebels. Look at what we're going to do next. He's going to be in the Ahsoka show.
whoa. And then here he get his own show.
I can't wait for the Ahsoka show to just be a trailer for Mandalorian season 4.
No.
Just like Book of Boba
No.
Fett was a trailer for Mandalorian season
No.
3.
I
I never
was
watched
so upset. I was so upset.
At least Andor was good.
God, I was so upset with Book of Boba Fett. I was like,
Yeah.
you have what you need. You got Boba.
You got Boba Fett. that's
You
all
got a cool
need.
theme. Let's do it. And then halfway through, it was like, man, it's like, what? I want to see what Boba Fett's doing. Did you not think he could stand on his own 2 legs? Did you not believe in him?
Nah, man, those legs were
You not
those
believe
legs
in
were in the
Boba
Sarlacc
Fett?
pit. He can't stand on those.
They had a good thing going,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, they had a good thing going. It was called Star Wars.
It's called Star Wars, and they milked it too fast.
they milked it. They milked it.
So
too
here's the
much.
weird
fast.
thing about the Baby Yoda thing in Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's not actually released, but it's in the game files. They just never actually released it yet. So they're gonna wait until they need to pay for the servers that month, and they're a little low, and they'll probably pop out the Baby Yoda pod.
Bust out your Pixel Pixx and get to mining. Get to that data mining. Get
Yep.
yourself a Baby Yoda pod early.
Early. Man, it's on
Ah.
a table. I swear I've seen someone running around with it, though. That's the weirdest thing. So someone had to have mined it.
See, he took the initiative. They took the initiative. They
Like, I don't know if I'm just imagining things or if there's a second look-alike, but I swore I saw someone walking around with the Baby Yoda hover pad.
No, they had the hover pad that Yoda used in Lego Star Wars 1.
Maybe. But
Yeah,
yeah, no,
you
they
put your
released like
lightsaber away and
two
you jump, and then he's in his little hover pad that he was in like one scene in Attack of the Clones.
at one time. Yeah.
And remember when
Yeah,
you
it's
used to
really-
care about details like that in Star Wars?
Remember?
I remember.
It's like, hey, Star Wars, the Old Republic cares. They have 2 Mandalorian armor sets, remember?
Would you guys want to see a High Empire or Old Republic like show or what they would try and do with that, or
High
are
Republic
is
stuff?
everybody here
Not
just
with
gonna
their
check
current
out?
track record.
Mm.
With the track record of Disney Star Wars, I don't want anything. I would
We
rather
got
have
the Old
nothing.
Republic. We got the
Yeah.
Legends Old Republic novels, and we got Star Wars, and we got KOTOR. What more do we need?
I have heard that Timothy Zahn's new Thrawn novels are pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
To write some Star Wars book.
Just have Timothy Zahn write everything. That's it. Well, no, I don't even want that because it's not gonna be Timothy Zahn writing it. It's gonna be a Disney boardroom writing it.
It's like, wow, Timothy, this looks great. Into the paper shredder it goes.
Yep. Wow. This is a really good script, Timothy. Now hold on a second. I'm going to rip it up and put in what I want because the marketing says this is popular right now.
But the graph says.
What the chart says.
What the chart says.
Yeah, so anyway, Final Fantasy XIV is a good game.
A little
You
bit.
did it. You
Yes.
did it.
Final
Um,
Fantasy
did it.
14. We've been talking about Star Wars the past like 5 minutes.
yeah.
So
Final,
Star
Final
Wars
Fantasy
The Republic's
14
pretty good too.
14 is also a good podcast game, which is good because I'm not gonna have nearly as much time to listen to podcasts anymore because I have put in my last day at Amazon.
Let's go,
Woo!
baby!
Oh,
There
I
we
right.
hate
go.
being
There we
better.
go.
It's
Yeah.
like, You found something better then?
Yes, I did. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Kevin, works at a, I think it's a tracked middle school. It's like middle school specifically for GT kids, I think, in Cedar Hill, and they desperately needed an English teacher, and I was like, I mean, I don't have a certification in English, but I have a master's in English. Is that okay? No. Yes, please.
So that sounds fantastic. Where can you start?
And I said I can start as at the time of recording tomorrow. So I'm going into admin tomorrow and getting everything.
So
awesome.
I came from a private Christian school. So educate me as to what a GT.
Gifted and talented.
Oh, okay. So you're working with the smart kids.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
And apparently they hate their long-term subs, so that's good for me because they'll immediately be like, well, he can't be as bad as this guy. Then I can let them down now.
Then you can let them down one last time.
I want, just like all my parties in FF14. I want them to lower me into my grave so they can let me down one last time.
Unfortunately, I tend to be the teammate that lets everyone down because I don't know what I'm doing.
I tend to be that teammate because I'm the tank and I'm like, I've never run this dungeon before, guys. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, that is the problem of being a tank in Final Fantasy 14. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, Black Mage, could you please just give me a second here and not run off and get yourself killed?
Oh gosh, Black Mage, stop it! Stop it!
Wow, good news for you guys.
Like, I'm not so much a tank as I am a babysitter for a group of very suicidal children.
Basically, the tank is supposed to set the pace for the dungeon. And then, oh dear lord, the samurais run off. Okay, hold on. Chase them down.
It's like, wait.
Stop it. And, yeah. Fun game. But yeah,
It's a great game. Tanking is very stressful when you don't know what you're doing.
It is, but I love it. I love it anyway. Because I'm the one fighting the boss. The boss is looking at me.
I am the main character in this multiplayer game.
Like, if I'm playing Dragoon, I'm a cool Dragoon, but I'm just stabbing it in the butt.
A lot.
I'm fighting the dragon's posterior.
Not enough jumping.
Hey, that's the whole undead dragon in PS1.
Yeah. But yeah. Delivering for Amazon is not the worst job in the world. It's fine. If you enjoy that kind of work, and I won't lie, there is some enjoyment to be had in that kind of work. It's not bad. It really isn't. And the company I worked for was pretty good because Amazon doesn't hire the drivers directly. They hire a company that hires the drivers. The company I worked for was great. It really is nothing to do with them. It's that I hate the schedule because if we started earlier in the day, much better. But because I want to get off and be able to do community theater, but I can't. And I have no idea when I'm getting off. So even then, I can't do theater because I have no idea when I'm getting off. So it's like yesterday, my last day, I couldn't finish the route because the way the route was programmed, it had me backtracking the entire time and wasting a ton of time. Just constant, instead of like this house, then this house, then this house. It's this house, drive a few streets down this house, drive a few streets down this house. Now go back to that first street and do another house on that street. It was terrible. Didn't get back home until like 9:30. It was awful.
Oof.
And the heat's awful. And some of the vans are fine, but then some of the vans, the AC doesn't turn on right away. And you're in and out of the vans really quickly. So by the time you're at your next stop, the AC's just turning on.
Oh no.
And you have to turn off the van at every stop. They'll get you if you don't. That's an Amazon policy. It sucks. But because of delivery driving, I had a ton of time to listen to podcasts and audiobooks. I listened to 5 audiobooks over the entire summer. That was fun.
Dang.
And really,
Yep.
really just 2 months actually. So I talked a bit about some of these already, so I'll kind of skim through them. Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, the newest secret project from Brandon, absolutely fantastic. One of my favorites of his. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And I was considering listening to it again on my last week, but I decided to do something else that I'll get to. It's great. Then after that, I listened to Dracula. I think I talked about that already. Dracula's great. Literally a found footage film before found footage was even a concept. And the ending is literally a Sanderlanche.
Yep.
It's so weird how modern that book is. It's great. And then after that, I listened to The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh, the OG.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic when Victor Hugo is actually telling the story and not going off on a long essay about Notre Dame or Paris.
What are you talking about? It's Victor Hugo. He's gonna go on in
All the time, dude.
Period.
It's Victor
What he's known
freaking
for.
Hugo. Man. Still a phenomenal book. Absolute downer of a book. I love it. Just the bitterest pill I've ever swallowed with a book. It's so like people talk about the road is real depressing. I don't know if the road is as heavy as the ending of The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Fair.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite books, one of the best books I've ever read, and really does give me a new appreciation for other versions, which I will get to, of that story. But continuing on, what I read after that, I wanted a break from classic literature because Victor Hugo kind of, that was rough. Not rough as in bad, but that took a lot out of me. So I went back and I re-listened to Tress of the Emerald Sea. Still my favorite Brandon book. Fantastic. I love it. Jake is going, what?
Again,
Yes, I did.
and I haven't reread a single Brandon book.
I've reread.
Oh, that's more than
Yeah, exactly. So
I am slightly behind. The Tress. So I think
buy hardcovers of both Tress and Fruit now.
yeah, but are they the good?
No, they're the tour
Yeah,
versions.
that's the issue. I buy it if I'm not.
They were selling bundles. They were selling the bundles, Jake.
I'm a broke college student. I can't fit that in. That's like more than 1/10 of my entire money for one book.
Oh yeah, everybody! Congrats on Jake for going off to college.
Yay! Congratulations.
Wahoo quote.
That is something that Chris Pratt said in the movie I have not seen. But anyway, after Tress of the Emerald Sea, I was like, okay, let me do another classic book that I haven't read that I want to read. So I was going between Moby Dick and The Three Musketeers. And I was like, well, Moby Dick is probably going to be a lot like Victor Hugo. So let me go read The Three Musketeers.
Yeah, you better.
I listened to The Three Musketeers with the same narrator that I listened to Hunchback with, and he's great. He has all the French pronunciations. So you're not listening to the story of Quasimodo. It's Quasimodo and Polo.
Oh,
and
French derogatory.
And for and for Three Musketeers, it's the main character is D'Artagnan. The Three Musketeers are Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. That's a very fun book, man. Alex, it's been so long since I read The Count of Monte Cristo that I kind of forgot how good the writer Alexander Dumas is, and he's oh my gosh. I'm gonna go back and reread Count of Monte Cristo. Three Musketeers is just such a good like okay, when I say the word swashbuckling, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you guys?
Pirate.
Errol Flynn kind of, the haha, ting 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 ting
Yes,
ting.
exactly. Like kind of Princess Bride, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
It is either pirate stuff or Three Musketeers that swashbuckling stuff draws from. The main character is a charming cavalier guy who has a bit of a quick temper, but he's a very good swordsman, and he has all these romances, very charming man, all that stuff. And because he's French, the first girl he goes after is a married lady whose husband is like 20 years older than her and she doesn't like him. The French are another breed, man.
French derogatory.
But yeah, it's Three Musketeers is so much fun, and it's got more substance than you would think with a book like that. On the surface and for much of the book, it is fun adventure with these very charming characters, and then sometimes you'll get moments where it gets very serious, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great book, fantastic, absolutely love it. And apparently, Dumas wrote 2 sequels to it, so I'll have to read those sometime. The first one is 20 Years Later, is that's a title, I guess. And then the second one is The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh, that's raw. That's raw as hell.
That's such a good title.
No. Who's got the mask on?
I don't know.
Is it MF2? Is it MF2? Is he showing?
Man, I just started listening to MF Doom like a month ago. Oh my god, he's so good.
Don't forget, he rhymes about breakfast cereal.
So then the last week I could have gone and redid Yumi, or I could have started Moby Dick, but I was like, I'm not gonna finish Moby Dick, and I don't know if I'll finish Yumi. You know what I should listen to instead, because I haven't done it in a while? I'm gonna go and listen to more Critical Role.
Oh, good luck.
What a show.
I continued on campaign 2 of Critical Role. I listened to, I think about, over the course of 5 days, I think I listened to 7 or 8 episodes.
Hours of content.
It's a ton of content, and there's even more. It never ends.
Wow.
I'm never gonna get caught up, man. But it's great. Critical Role is great. A lot of fun. I got to some really good moments in campaign 2. I'm more than halfway through, but only just.
Gotcha.
It's great though. It's a great campaign. And then I listened to the Adventures of the Darrington Brigade one shot, which was hilarious. Freaking Taliesin made a character that was just Batman, a barbarian rogue called the Owl Bear.
All right.
And there's a part where would anyone like to say a prayer before we go? And everyone's quiet, and then Taliesin goes, "Justice is the only God I serve." Fun, great.
Nice.
So yeah, Critical Role, good show, very good show. And speaking of Critical Role, I'll move on to what I watched, because I watched all of The Legend of Vox Machina.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very good. Very good.
Very good show. I was a little worried at first, because from like when the show was announced, I was like, oh, that's awesome, and then they started showing a little bit like a promotional behind the scenes stuff, and one of the writers they got was someone who the only thing I knew her from was a Spider-Man show that everyone complained about because it wasn't as good as the show it replaced. So I was like, oh no, oh no. And then Matt talked about how he was in like one of the writers' rooms and they were saying, no, we need to do it. It's like, no, we need to do it like this because that's how the campaign works. But that's not how TV shows work. And he's like, that's the point. So, and then I will say the first couple episodes of season 1 were a little rough, but then as soon as it gets into Briarwood stuff, it's great. It's fantastic, and it just stays that way for the rest of the show. Can't wait for season 3. I hope Amazon doesn't pull a Netflix and just guts it.
Oh no, I doubt they will. They already approved
The Mighty Nine,
the
right?
second campaign for.
Oh yeah, the Mighty
Yeah,
Nine
there is
show.
going to be a Mighty Nine show.
Yeah. So I hope it.
It seems
continues
like
to
they're
do-
putting all their eggs in that basket.
Well, I mean, it's one of their most popular shows, and another one of their most popular shows is also animated with Invincible. And
Oh, it's so good. Can't
their
wait.
other two
Love
fantasy
Invincible.
their other two fantasy shows are kind of crapping the bed. So
There's
but-
also the Boys spin-off animation show, which apparently is both good and did well.
hey,
I got a little bit through season 2. Really enjoyed season 1.
it's somewhere on my list of things to watch.
Boys is good. The Boys is good.
But yeah, Legend of Vox Machina is great. I also like the day I think after I finished reading Hunchback of Notre Dame, I went back and rewatched the Disney movie.
Oh,
And-
nice.
And I like it. I still like it, most of it. The gargoyles are
What?
terrible. Gargoyles
What?
are
Do you
awful.
like the movie?
I
You
do
like the-
movie.
You like the movie? Whoa, that's great. That's crazy.
I know it's insane, but I do. I like the movie. It's a good movie. It's really interesting as an adaptation because it's obviously lots of elements are toned down and elements
Oh,
are
yeah.
changed. Like Esmeralda is older in the movie.
Yeah.
She is an adult in the movie because in the book she is 16. And Phoebus is a creep in the book. Phoebus is a completely different character in the movie. Completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. And I know the ending is really faithful to the book, so I have to thank Disney for that. They got a really solid ending.
Extraordinarily faithful.
I mean, Frollo falls off Notre Dame.
That he does.
That's about it. That's
Now hang on,
accurate.
hang on, just a second. I know I watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but you mean to tell me that the ending of The Hunchback of Notre Dame doesn't actually have that crystallized like boss that you have to fight as Sora from Kingdom Hearts 3 Time District?
No, oh yeah, that
No,
I-
see,
I
that
thought that
was
was
from
from
the
the-
book.
don't
That
believe
was from
that.
the Wargoyles
I don't
from the
believe
book.
Okay. Just the end.
I don't believe that. It's gotta be in there.
It was a really bold move by Victor Hugo to have Ansem show up and
Mhm.
summon a nightmare.
He was ahead of the game.
Oh my gosh. Good stuff. But yeah, the movie's good. And then I was really interested because I'm a huge fan of the stage music, which they made years later, and it's my number 2 favorite musical. And the only reason it's not my favorite is because Sweeney Todd. Well, no, Sweeney Todd is perfect, and Hunchback there's like one small flaw. Made of Stone is such an amazing song, and then the conclusion of that is done away in a line.
Oh wait, Quasimodo is made of stone no longer.
Yes, exactly. It works, but it's a little fast. But there's no other way to do it.
Dang it, Victor Hugo.
That's not Victor Hugo's fault.
Oh,
That's more Steven Schwartz because he did the book and lyrics.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interesting thing about watching the movie afterward is number one, Frollo's a completely different character. But also, I hear in the soundtrack songs that aren't in the movie but are in the stage musical. So like Fetus doesn't have a song in the movie, but he does in the musical, and they took a little leitmotif that plays when he arrives and used that for his song stage musical. There's interesting things like that. It's one of Alan Menken's best soundtracks, easily. You know, the gargoyles aside. And those gargoyles are terrible. Just awful. Who looked at the Hunchback of Notre Dame and said, "You know what we need? We need Jason Isaacs here. We need freaking George Costanza. That's who we need."
Hey, whoa! Watch where you're treading.
Don't you be talking bad about my boy Costanza.
That is a national treasure.
Ugh. Anyway, I do like the movie, and then the movie also at the end, I didn't think there's a song in the musical called "Someday," and it's one of the best songs in the musical. All the songs are the best song in the musical, but it's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic song. Really played at a really good really heartfelt moment. It's heartbreaking, and it's done so well. And I was like, yeah, this song's not in the movie. And then I get to the credits of Hunchback, and then it's like, wait a minute, hold on, this is Someday. Oh no, it's awful. Oh, it's a bad mid-90s version of the song, and it's terrible.
Womp womp.
Ooh, it's so bad. Yeah, Hunchback is great. At some point, I'm going to watch the old live-action Disney movie of the Three Musketeers, because I want to see how that works. Like, there's Three Musketeers is very easy to just take some things, tone them down, and it's a perfect family movie. Hunchback, not so much. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they did with that. Another thing I watched was I went and again watched the bootleg recording of the original production of the Hunchback of Notre Dame musical. Absolutely fantastic. Freaking Patrick Page as Frollo is amazing. He does such a good job. It was the first role where he was ever like he didn't have to audition for the role. They just asked him to do it, and he did. And he's so good. You'd also know him as the original Hades in Hadestown.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Aaron, I know you saw Hadestown. Did you ever go and listen to the soundtrack?
I did not. No.
You should, because the guy who played Hades in the production that we saw was really good, really really good. But he doesn't have the bass that Patrick Page has.
Can't confirm.
That man's voice hits down to Hades.
Does one.
Amazing. He at one point played Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast, and I think that's where he met his wife. I follow the guy on social media. I like seeing stuff from him. So yeah, watch that again. Michael Arden, who plays Quasimodo, is, oh my gosh, he's so good, and I'm jealous of his voice because he has a voice given like a gift from God, and he doesn't use it anymore. He just directs now. He doesn't even act; he just directs. soundtracks. Apparently, he's a good director. I think he's won a Tony, and his revival of Carousel won like best revival. So, I mean, good for him. I just wish he would use his voice more because it's amazing. Let's see what else. That's about it. What I watched. But I did continue listening to musicals for consideration for our community theater. Let me see, find that list again. Let's see. Okay, so last time I think I had just listened to the soundtrack for Young Frankenstein. Very funny musical. We've since had a board meeting and agreed, yeah, we can't do it at our venue. There's no way we can tone that down to work in a church, unfortunately. Very funny show, but it's not doable. I listened to a musical called Death Takes a Holiday, which is a very, very fun musical based on an old movie where Death starts to fall in love with a woman and he lets her live, and then he wants to see why people are afraid of death, so he takes a holiday, becomes a human for a weekend, and goes to and stays with the lady's family, and then they end up falling in love, and when he has to go back and be Death again, she decides to go with him, and it's a sweet little story, and the music's pretty darn good. I listened to Oliver. Spotify finally has the live recording of the revival in, I think it was 2006, I think, where Rowan Atkinson played Fagin. And he's fantastic. Rowan Atkinson is so good. So I listened to that, and that's a lot of fun. I really like what the revivals have done with Oliver. It's a show that was really old and needed a bit of sprucing up, and they've done a really good. Listen to Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hunchback of Notre Dame, good. Listen to Fiddler on the Roof. Fiddler on the Roof is good.
That's a good one.
I love Fiddler. I love it. Good one.
All-time classic.
All-time classic. I listened to freaking SpongeBob the Musical. All-time classic.
I have heard good things about it, actually.
Music is actually very good.
Yeah.
I don't know about the show itself. It seems fun, at the very least. The music is absolutely fantastic, and it somehow works despite every song being written by a different artist. They got some big names for it. Like, there's a song that's written by some guys from Aerosmith. There's a song written by Sarah Bareilles. They used a David Bowie song and just changed up the lyrics. It's weird, but it works. And Squidward's song is absolutely hilarious because it's all about how it's called "I'm Not a Loser." All about how Squidward's totally not a loser. He's not alone. People don't pretend to like him. People don't secretly hate him and all that stuff. And then as he's singing, this chorus line shows up and starts singing, "Yeah, Squidward, you're not a loser. Everybody likes you. You're not secretly depressed," and all that stuff. And they have this big old bombastic dance number and everything. And then it ends. And then it turns out he was hallucinating the entire thing.
Oh.
I love that so much.
It's great. Yeah, SpongeBob's fun. I listened again to Shrek. Shrek's fine. I like the music of Shrek. I think the show itself has issues, but it's fine. It came very close to being my favorite musical comedy, but the not third act in terms of like Act 1, Act 2 musical stuff, but the story third act, just like with Shrek the movie, is bad. and the musicals version is even worse than the movie. Like, up until that point, I'd say it's better than the movie, but then after that point, it's just worse. Still got some good songs in there, though. Then I listened to Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. That is a classic that I feel like I really need to see the movie to get, because the soundtrack itself was really good, but also it's musical. I didn't really know exactly what was happening half the time. So I had read a summary of the music. Also, that may just be because as I was listening to the soundtrack on the way home, I got rear-ended. So
God damn.
I'm fine. The other guy's fine. My car has a bit of damage. He's at fault. He's saying he's at fault, so his insurance is gonna take care of it.
Reimbursement.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll skip this next one and go to the last one, because the next one is the big standout for me. But I listened to Godspell. Godspell's a really good soundtrack. It's a really weird show, but it's one that I would want to see. I would want to see multiple versions of that show, because it's so open for a director's specific interpretation. It's a really interesting show, and there's some sick guitar riffs in that show for some reason. It's also one that, even though I had read a summary, and boy do I know the story of Godspell, because it's just the Gospels, I had no idea what was going on while listening to it.
This sick guitar.
No, the sick guitar riff happens while Jesus is dying on the cross.
Oh.
Whoa.
All right.
And he doesn't say it is finished or anything.
I'm sorry, just Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Almost. Except he doesn't say Father, forgive them. He says,
Right, yeah,
he says,
yeah.
Oh God, I'm dying. And the
Nice.
and then the chorus says, Oh God, you're dying.
Thanks, chorus.
And then he says, Oh God, I'm dead. And then they say, Oh God, you're dead.
Oh my good grief. Okay.
Fun times.
Jesus Christ shredded for
And then the second to last one that I listened to, and the big standout, aside from like back in that I already love, is Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah, it's another classic.
That soundtrack is amazing, and that show is amazing.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one, and it's also I had heard it before, but I had completely forgotten until I looked it up again. That show was made by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, the people the two who did the first bits of the Disney Renaissance.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, and boy,
That's
can
awesome.
you hear it at times. Like freaking the girl, what's her name? Audrey. She has two big songs. And the first one, Somewhere That's Green. The ending it's just the ending of Part of Your World. It's just the ending of Part of Your World. And then her other song, Suddenly Seymour. At the end of the original version, not the revival, but the original version, it has the that's in the beginning of Part of Your World.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Alan Menken was just kind of like, you know what, this was good. Let me do it again. But that's such a fun show, and the songs are fantastic. And the revival soundtrack is really freaking good. Like, it's not a Broadway revival; it's off Broadway. The show's never been on Broadway, but that's fine. apparently the production that the revival production is still going on, like with different actors, but it's apparently still going on. It survived COVID, so good on them. But the original production has Jonathan Groff as the main character, who you might know as frickin' Kristoff in Frozen and King George in Hamilton.
Nice.
Which is like, wow, this guy has range. Because Seymour is neither of those characters. That's great. That's such a fun show, and I want to do it with our community theater. So I've been looking online of like, okay, what do the plant puppets look like? What do they look like? And I've seen some that you can rent that are really nice. So we'll see. That'd be a fun Halloween show. And you could play it more on the comedy side, because it's a horror comedy, but you could play it more on the comedy side if you're worried about the kids. And I need to see the movie, because I've seen bits and pieces of the movie, and the movie was directed by Frank Oz. And the puppetry in that is amazing. The plants puppet, it moves so smoothly. And I was like, how did they do that? That moves too smoothly for a puppet. And what it is that they sped up the footage so that it looks smooth, so that it moves more smoothly. So that means that Rick Moranis is having to act his scenes when he's in the same shot as the puppet. He's having to act at like half speed, which is fine when you're doing a song, because you can just play the song at half speed on set. But when you're doing dialogue, that's rough, and he does it. And I noticed they minimize the amount of dialogue where you can see his mouth in those shots where he's in the same shot as the puppet. They played it smart. I do need to see the movie. A friend of mine has a copy, so I might from him. And I think that is about it for me. Waiting for Baldur's Gate on PS5 E3. Jake's been playing it.
I've touched it.
It's
I
coming
have
soon.
maybe like an hour, because I'm like, dude, this is really, really big game. This is a
So
really
big.
big game. But I have touched it. I've enjoyed what I've played so far. It's D&D, but you're playing for a first DM. I was dungeon delving as one does, and I failed a passive perception check. Inspected this tomb, and my whole party blew up and died.
Yeah, I know exactly which part you're talking
It's
about.
like right at the beginning too. So
Yep.
And I was like, well, there goes 30 minutes, because I didn't know about the quick save until afterward.
Oh yeah.
So
I just constantly forget that quick save's even a thing in it, and I will literally just go like 30, 45 minutes without saving, and then I will mess up a check or die or something and be like, oh, now I have to jump back like the beginning of the dungeon.
You know, this sounds kind of like my experience trying to play Morrowind.
Yeah.
You can go if you want, Jake.
Okay.
What have you done?
Yeah, so I'm gonna recap the past 2 years.
Please do.
So, I mean, yeah, moved into college. Things are going good. I'm going to UNT like Zach did, except I'm not double majoring in journalism classes in the summer. But yeah, that's all been going good. My roommate is a nerd, not a pothead, so
You get more value out of your room.
My roommate also like
That's awesome.
in the fight week, which is just a week long orientation, already figured out a way into the system where he could sign into the mandatory events without having to go to them. So that's what I get for having a comp sci major as my roommate. But you know, I'll take it. If I get, you know, hundreds the entire year, we'll assume it's because I'm smart. But yeah,
Yes.
that's been going good. I just finished another playthrough of Bloodborne, my favorite game.
Ooh.
I love Bloodborne so much. I went through and did a strength mainly, and Ludwig's Holy Blade. I went through
That's grappling game.
and if I kept count right, the only boss that took me 3 tries throughout the entire run, and I did every boss, was Orphan of Kos. The rest took me 2 tries or 1 try.
Nice.
So yeah, that was fun. And then I've also been playing through a little over halfway Dark Souls 2.
The second one.
Ooh.
Alright.
Oh boy, the second one.
Right.
Oh, you mean the best one in the series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely the
Yeah.
cleanest and the least buggy.
It is. Listen, okay. There are times when I can ignore everything for the most part, but there are definitely times where I am really feeling that this is not a good game. Like, there are just some really, really objectively bad aspects about that game.
Almost as if it's a bad game.
And I got to the Old Iron Keep, right? And I didn't think about it at first. It's kind of that refrigerator logic. But Zach pointed out to me, when you go to the windmill right before the Old Iron Keep, the elevator takes you up. Why is the Old Iron Keep, which is in the middle of a volcano, at the top of it? The windmill just goes straight up into the sky. Because
mind you, the Old Iron Keep is surrounded by lava everywhere, as far as the eye can see, and you just go straight up into the sky where there's nothing but sky, and suddenly the floor is lava.
Yes.
And then, of course, ADP is awful stat, but I gotta play through them all, because gotta have the full Souls experience, and I gotta get through this one just so I can get to DS3. DS3 is very good. Yeah, what have I been watching?
Didn't finish Legend of
I haven't finished Legend of Vox Machina. I got a couple episodes away from the end, and that is very, very good quality. I never watched through campaign 1. I've just seen a lot of clips, but
Same.
I knew of certain arcs, but this kind of fleshed out, especially because things that are going on in campaign 3, which I will not elaborate because Zach is very far behind. Yeah, that's a very solid show. I like it a lot. And I got through the first season of BoJack Horseman.
No, I'm so sorry.
Ooh, great show.
I'm so sorry.
Like, it's really good. Man.
You to tell me that.
It's really good in a way that's just utterly depressing.
It's like,
You to tell me that I'm a good person.
it's so just sing. It doesn't there's no, oh, he goes through, bad stuff and then it gets better. No, it's getting worse. And from what I've heard, Even in the later seasons, it doesn't get better. Everything just keeps on getting worse for BoJack.
Yeah, I tapped out at season.
Dude,
I can't. And those of you who know season 2, that's what I was like. All right. Signing off.
I've seen a shot from like the end of season 3, and I'm like, oh no.
Yep. Yep.
It is just really good, but downer show. Reading wise, I just started Jonathan Strange, Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. That has been very good fun so far, and I'm not gonna say a whole lot because Zach wants to get as possible. But man, it is such an interesting concept. It's written really. Those of you who have read it know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it is just really, really, really fun to read.
What is?
Yeah.
Sorry, say again. What is really fun to read? You were kind of cutting out a little bit.
Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell.
Ooh, no. Let me look this up.
Good fun.
There it is.
What else have I been up to? Oh well, yeah. Tears of the Kingdom happened. I got a decent bit into that. I beat dungeon. Then I got swept up in. Yeah, that's right. I did beat DS1, all of it. Which, man, I love Dark Souls. It is so good, except for Lost Izalith. But it's so good. Lost Izalith is not, but everything else is just amazing. And I went through and did Strength Faith build because so far I've done Pierce Dex, which was my first playthrough of Bloodborne. Then with Elden Ring, I did Strength Intelligence. And then DS1, I was like, I'm gonna do Strength Faith. So I did Strength Faith. I used the Zweihander. That was really, really fun. Brilliant world building, especially the actual world design, makes DS2 all that much more disappointing. But that was just really, really fun. And I didn't know it because I
Nice.
went pretty blind into DS1, but I accidentally did like the good ending of Solaire's quest line, which Zach said, no, don't do that. But I didn't mean to, and I got the good ending, which isn't really the good ending. Dark Souls, it's the least bad ending. And then because Dark Souls is real, especially DS1 is real finicky with character side quests, I accidentally screwed up Sigmire's quest line, and I saved him before he even got into trouble in Lost Izalith. And so that just ended his quest line, and I didn't get to the actual end of it. And that's unfortunate. But I think I did just about everything else. I just really, really enjoyed my DS1. I go down to DS2, and I think that's been about it. Oh, I played some more Papers, Please.
Oh, what a great game!
It's a great game. Here's the thing, right? It is a amazing game. It is not fun at all. It is the least fun game that I have ever played, and it is so good. I
Gamifies monotony, which is really good.
Mm-hmm. And like the thing is, like it actively punishes you for doing the optimal thing. It just makes doing that harder and harder and harder. It is constantly working against you, which is the whole point. And the game and the writing is just amazing. I love that game, and it is so sad and I don't feel good when I'm playing it. I feel like a bad person. And yeah, so I played through some Papers, Please. And yeah, I think college is a whole experience, but I've only had 1 week, seen everything there is. That will be coming up within the next couple of months. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Nice. Enjoy it. It's a good time.
That's a podcast. Didn't even hear you.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a podcast.
You cut off at the end.
That was a podcast.
Like they said,
Yeah.
that was a
Yep.
podcast.
That
Mhm.
was a podcast.
Definitely one of the podcasts of all time.
Really was. Really, Jake, it's not picking you up at all. You're not talking loudly enough.
I think I'm talking quite loudly.
You're not.
We can have this conversation as the closing for the podcast if that's what you want.
Put it in the comments. Is Jake talking loudly or not? Catch you later, gamer. Oh God. Okay.
And that's the outro for the Oh, I forgot to mention I forgot to mention this. Oh yeah, really everything between the events. But I liked it a lot. It made it the fact that it's all kind of monotonous because of the civilization factor. Just one more day.